Hey, now, welcome. You are listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host. This is WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, my favorite radio station. I guess I should tell you my name, Lynn Richardson, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, one dime at a time. That means it doesn't matter where you are. You can get to where you are trying to go if you just stick with it. If you can look up, you can get up. You can't fail until you quit and all of that stuff. So we're going to get right into it. I want you to make sure you follow me at Lynn Millionaire on social media. You can listen to this show anywhere in the world at lynnmillionaire.com, also at WVON.com. We know that we are in a time where things are happening that we have no control over. Right now, we are working with our sister, Tamika Mallory, because this beautiful young woman in Fort Worth, Texas, was killed over the weekend, and it is a travesty. So I'd like for you to go to hiphopsisters.org/donate, hiphopsisters.org/donate, if you would be so kind to donate to the cause. All of us are pulling together so that we can take care of her funeral services and so that we can take care, try to give something to take care of her young children that she left behind. And we know that there have been so many atrocities happening throughout our communities, throughout this country, and it just keeps on happening one day after the next. But what we can do is we can look up, we can support each other as a community. So I'm encouraging you to go to hiphopsisters.org/donate and support this most recent tragedy that has happened in our community. I want to get us focused also on what we need to do in light of this travesty. It really just brings to mind the things that we need to do to get ourselves financially in order. And so rather than waiting until 2020, rather than waiting until the new year, I'd like for us to continue to think about what we should do right now to plan for the year ahead, for what it is that we want. That's what the corporations are doing. That's what the moguls are doing. That's what the millionaires and the billionaires are doing. They don't wait until the year starts to plan for it. By the time the year gets here, their 365-day plan is already underway. So I want us to create today a financial vision of perfection. And I want to share with you a couple of words that we have heard many times before, but they take special meaning right now. And I want us to get our pens and our paper, because thoughts disentangle themselves when they pass through your fingertips. Everybody with a smartphone, guess what? We're all getting dumber. We're forgetting things. We can't remember anything. I remember phone numbers from 25, 30 years ago, but I don't know phone numbers that are happening right now. So I know that there are apps out there. I know that there are virtual calendars. But what I'd like you to do, as it relates to your finances and as it relates to the changes you want to make to shift into another dimension, I want you to start to write, because when you write, you get clarity, you get vision. And speaking of that clarity and that vision, the word says, write the vision and make it plain on tablets so that the reader can run with it. And that comes from Habakkuk 2:2. And it basically means when you want people to know something, you've got to not just tell them. That's the problem with simply going to church on Sunday and listening to a sermon. How are you going to give it to somebody else if you didn't write it yourself? If you didn't write any notes? And as a matter of fact, when people say to me, oh, the sermon was so good, I always ask, what did you do? What did you do? If you heard a message and it was a great message, I'm going to ask you after that, what did you do? Because if you didn't do anything different, then chances are it's not going to stick. And one of the key ways to get you to do something different is to write it down. I also like the Message version of this same scripture that says, write the vision and make it plain. The Message version says this: write what you see. Write it out in big block letters so that it can be read on the run. Let a messenger take your message to other people. Your family should know your financial vision of perfection. We suffer in silence. We don't want to talk about what's going on with the finances. We don't want to tell the children that the house is in foreclosure. We don't want to tell anybody that the income is tight or that we have overextended ourselves on our credit card bills. But that's exactly what we should do. We should put it on paper so that everybody can put their thoughts together so that we can get to the next level. Another scripture that I want to share with you that relates to this before we start writing our vision collectively together right now is simply this. It's Proverbs 29:18, which says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So if you don't know where you're going, chances are your dreams are going to die. Your objectives are going to die. Your mission is going to die. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keeps the law, happy is he. I also want to share this from the Message version perspective because I think it gives us a little bit of context to how we think and how we apply things today. It says, if people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what he reveals, they are most blessed. That means we have to see what's happening. There's a recession that's coming. It is going to take place. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. So are we doing the things that we need to do right now to be prepared for that? Are you storing as much as you possibly can? Are you putting money to the side for a come up? I want to talk about all of this as we think about our vision of perfection. So this is the first thing I want to deal with our vision of perfection. Number one, you cannot fix what you will not face. So I don't care what it is that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a car that's about to be repossessed, or a house that's going into foreclosure, or a job that you are losing or that you've lost, or that you know is going to be interrupted at some point in the future, if you don't face it, you cannot fix it. The other side of that is this. You must be willing to face what's wrong in order to fix it. So if something is wrong, you have to be willing to face it. And I know it's hard. The very first time I looked at my budget, I cried, I wept. But let me tell you, I had to go right back to that thing in order to conquer it. Likewise, you must be willing to face what is right in order to achieve it. So not only do you have to be willing to fix and face what is wrong, but you got to look at the truth. The only way to get to the next level financially, step one, is to live below your means. 1 + 1 = 2. I tell people all the time, you don't have a money problem, you have a math problem. We learned math in first grade. 1 + 1 = 2. If your stuff adds up to 10, it'll never get into 2. One of my beautiful clients who I've had an opportunity to speak with, she lives in Chicago. She listens to this show. I saw her in Phoenix over the weekend. She came up to where I was signing books and she said, Lynn, we talked. I said, I know, I remember. But the thing is this, you got to do more than talking. You got to put some action behind your words. So the other thing is, too many of us avoid our faults and ignore what we have seen, heard, or known to be the truth because we naturally do not like change. Let me tell you something. Nobody likes change. Everybody wants everything to stay the same. But the truth is, the only thing that doesn't change is the fact that things will change. Change is going to happen all the time. And so we don't want to be left behind. The other thing is this. Change means we must let some things go. If you have a financial vision, you're not going to be able to take all of the habits, all of the spending habits, all of the things that you used to buy. You can't take them with you where you are going. Some areas must die. Some relationships must die. Some things must die. But change also means that there is a new birth waiting for you. I had no idea that something new was waiting for me until the old stuff fell off. Now, some of the stuff I didn't want to fall off. I was holding on to opportunities and jobs and things, and I thought my life would end if they were over. But guess what? I'm still here. So there is a new birth in your finances based on the truth is what you need to get to the next level of abundance. We're going to create our financial vision of perfection. Get your pen and paper. But right now, we have to take a break on the Talk of Chicago for traffic and weather with Annette Flournoy. We'll be right back. WVON.
Are you struggling with your finances? Have you tried everything you can think of but just can't seem to get ahead on your own? Well, it's time to get some help. With a financial coach, you can find out what you don't know and learn to make better choices when it comes to your finances. Lynn Richardson's Wealth Vision 2020 Financial Coaching provides step-by-step instructions daily, a one-stop shop to create your budget, access to vetted financial coaches in specialized areas such as mortgages, insurance, real estate, investing, taxes, and more. Lynn Richardson and her team will help you set goals, undo bad habits, push you past your own beliefs, and gain peace with your finances. Go to www.lynnrichardson.com. That's www.lynnrichardson.com or call 888-LYNN-123. That's 888-596-6123 for more info today.
Hey now, welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, my favorite radio station. We are creating today the financial vision of perfection because, first of all, I don't want you talking to me about all the money you spent over the holidays. Let's get this straight right now. We're going to manage the holidays like we got some sense. I know we're going to eat sweet potato pie. We're going to eat macaroni and cheese. We're going to have collard greens. We're going to have 50 people at the house. But you are not going to spend money you don't have trying to be in love with a family that's not going to be there after the holidays are over. I don't want you having the problem that I had. I remember the first year my husband and I got married, and I went and charged Christmas gifts for everybody, and I was happy that day, but I wasn't happy when those bills came the next month. As a matter of fact, that started an avalanche of financial issues that it took me over a decade to cure. And I'll never forget, the following year, Christmas came, and I was still paying Christmas bills from the previous year, and I didn't have any money for the following year. So it was a mess. So I don't want you doing that. I want you to get your finances in order right now. And the best way to do that is to create a vision of perfection. So the first thing that you're going to do in your vision of perfection is I want you to write 5 or more areas in your finances that aren't working the way that you want them to. I want you to name 5 things that aren't working. Now, most of you might say, well, let me tell you, I don't need to say 5 things. I got one thing. I don't have enough money, right? I understand that. I get it. I understand not having enough. And it seems like that is the dominant thing, but that's not the biggest thing. That's not the only thing. So I want you to write, if you don't have enough money to make it from one payday to the next or beyond, then you're going to say your cash flow. All right. So cash flow is one thing that's not working the way you want it to. What about your pay? Are you making enough money? So maybe it's not making enough money on the job that you have right now, or maybe you don't have enough jobs, or maybe you don't have enough work or enough hours. So I want you to write these things. So I'm going to tell you right now that I'd like to expand the cash flow of my businesses. So the cash flow, I want more business coming in on each business that I have. I think, 13 or 14 streams of income. So I want more cash flow coming in on each of those things. The other thing that you may find with your money that's not working the way you want it to, because the first thing that you have to do is be honest about what's not working. Is your money making enough money? So are you investing in the right things? So let me explain this to you. Your money will work harder for you than you can ever work for it. Let me repeat. Your money will work harder for you than you can ever work for it. So having the right investments is important. What about you don't have a budget, right? So if you don't have a budget, that's definitely something that's wrong. So you want to write down at least 5 things that aren't working the way you want them to. Cash flow, having enough income streams coming in, investments. Is your retirement fund in place? Do you have a proper savings account? What are the things that aren't working properly in your finances? What about your credit? Is your credit in order? Do you have a 700 plus credit score? If not, that's something that you need to work on. What about your estate plan? Do you have a proper way to care for your loved ones in the event that you are not here? Do you know what's going to happen to the insurance money if you left a large policy to your heirs, to your spouse, to your children? Do you have a plan? Have you contacted Attorney Deidre Wood-Stokes or Attorney Serena Williams on Lynn's list to sit down and start a plan for what happens after you are not here? All of those things. What about your education? What about student loans? Do you have too much debt? Are you spending too much money? Do you have a spending addiction? I want you to write down all of these things in step 1 of creating your financial vision of perfection. Now, what I want you to understand is this. Anything can be fixed if you give it the proper attention. Anything can be fixed if you give it the truth. If you don't give it the truth, then what you're giving it is a lie. What you're giving it is delusion. So you might say to yourself, oh, everything's okay. No, everything's not okay. And it doesn't mean that you walk around depressed about it. It just means that you take it and you deal with it for what it is. And once you know that you can fix it, I don't want you to worry about it, okay? Because worry isn't going to get you anywhere. If you are stressed out, biting your nails, mad at people, going off, not able to think because your money is funny and your change is strange, you are robbing yourself of the power that you have to get it right. So worry, you need to throw that out of the door. Fear, you need to throw that out of the door. Anger, all of that stuff, you can't do anything with it. The only thing that you have the power to do anything with productively is your faith, your belief. You have to walk in it. If they're coming to get the car, let them take it. If you can't afford the house, I was talking to a client just the other day, or someone who wants to go through the 21 days to financial freedom, and she started getting nervous at the thought of losing her home. Why are you nervous about losing something you can't afford? I'm just going to sit here for a minute on that. You should be happy. I don't want anything that I can't afford stressing me out. I have been there, done that. There are no bricks that can make me want to stay in bondage. There is no vehicle that will make me want to stay in bondage. I don't care what people think. So I want you to start to apply your power to the right places. So now that you have written this list of things that are wrong, that's step 1. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to rank these items in the order of importance to you. What's the most important thing in your finances? Is it your cash flow? Is it your credit? Is it your retirement plan? Is it your investing? Is it your education? Is it paying off debt? What's the number one thing you want to address? Because the number one thing that you need to address is going to get you set up to tackle everything else. So the number one thing is then going to be followed by the second priority. Let me explain this to you. It doesn't make sense to think about owning a home if you don't have a job, right? Doesn't make sense to think about owning a home. So owning a home isn't going to be number one on your priority list. It's finding a job to make enough money so that you can save and take care of your bills. So when you begin to prioritize, you have a clear view of what's next. Because if you try to think about everything that you have to do, you'll naturally get overwhelmed. Anybody would. One of the things that Oprah says that I love, she says, when you have many things happening in your life and you don't know what to do, just make the next best decision. That's all you have to do. Make the next best decision. And then after you make that decision, make the next best decision after that. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, my favorite radio station. We are creating our financial vision of perfection, and I've got the big one. We're going to create the vision of perfection for each area. But first, we got to take a break for news, traffic, and weather with Annette Flournoy. We'll be right back. WVON.
Are you an exceptional real estate or financial services professional? Do you have a business or service that can improve the lives of others? You may qualify to serve the world as a member of Lynn's List. Visit www.lynnmillionaire.com. That's www.lynnmillionaire.com. actionable.com or call 888-LYNN-123 extension 5. That's 888-LYNN-123 extension 5 for more details.
Hey now, welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago. We're creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, one dime at a time. The thing that is the most refreshing for me, I made a lot of mistakes financially. I made every one that you could possibly make, including ignoring my bill collectors, having too many credit cards when I was in college, not paying my bills, filing bankruptcy, you name it, I've been there. But I get to see the vision be lived out in my children. I get to see my daughters go to college and start off their lives with 600-700 credit scores and starting off this path. I get to see them plan. I get to see them think proactively and creatively about their finances. I get to see them understand how to leverage their own home-based business so that they can build wealth. So if you did not have a vision prior to now, this vision is going to help you, your children, your community. So never think it's too late. I'm 25 until I'm 65. I'm not going to tell y'all my age. I just had a birthday, but no matter how old you get, it is never too late. So we're starting out we're ending out the year by starting off the new year way before it gets here. And we're creating our financial vision of perfection. Now, step one was for you to write down everything that wasn't working. Just write it down. Now, if you want to get this financial vision of perfection from me, go to lynnrichardson.com, click connect with Lynn, and then submit your question right there. And I will send you the financial vision of perfection. If you are already in my database, I'm going to send this out to everybody. But I want you to really think about this and what it's going to do to empower and change your situation. So one, you're going to write everything that you don't like about your finances, everything about it, your retirement. I don't have enough money. I've got too much debt. I've got too many credit cards. I have a spending addiction. If you are gambling, whatever it is, let me help you understand something. For everybody out there who's gambling, who doesn't think it's a problem, it is a problem. I need you to stop. I want you to take that time and that energy and put it into your home-based business. I want you to put it into something that you have more control over than chance. So there are many things that are keeping us in bondage, and I want us to stop the behaviors that we think are okay because you think you got a plan. Well, I went there this week and I made more and then I spent less, and that is not a winning game. At the end of that cycle, you are going to end up short. It is not something. Let me help you understand this. If the gambling industry was losing money, you wouldn't be able to win any. Let me repeat. If the gambling industry was losing money, you wouldn't be able to win any. So that is a lose-lose situation in the end, and I want you to get out of it. After you write everything that's wrong, I want you to rank it in the order of importance. What's the most important thing on your financial list? What's the most important thing you need to address? What's the most important thing after that? You may be swimming in debt. You may have bill collectors calling you. You may have garnishments and judgments and liens that are being threatened against you. You may need to file bankruptcy. Let me help you understand something. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world. People who file bankruptcy are much better off than folks who just keep this debt year after year after year after year after year. And after so much time or a little bit of time has passed, you can buy a new house, you can get a new car. If you file bankruptcy and your car note is too high, you can apply for a 722 redemption. You can potentially get the interest rate lowered, the payment lowered, so that your new payment matches the value of the car. Many people are paying more for a car than what it's worth. So do not just run to the bankruptcy court. I'm not telling everybody to do that. But what I'm telling you to do is to weigh your options. The third thing that you're going to do is you're going to create a vision of perfection for each area of your financial life. So what does your monthly income look like? What do you want to make a month? What do you want to make a year? You need to write that number down. You need to see it in your eyes. You need to see it. You need to visualize it, and then you need to get to work doing it. So if your goal is to have $5,000 a month, because you want to just cover your expenses, that's fine. Start there. If it's 10, if it's 20, if it's 30, whatever that number is, visualize it. That's the first part of it. The next thing I want you to do is to give yourself a 60-day goal. So your big vision might be this number, but what can you reasonably accomplish in 60 days? If you work a full-time job, can you pick up a part-time job? If you work a part-time job, can you now go get 2 or 3 part-time jobs? You're going to have to get to the next level by any means necessary. I remember during my last year of college, I had gone through a short break, and I had gone through just emotional and, life crisis and so on. And once I came back to myself, once I realized who I was and I got my power back, I went to school. I went to one job. I went to the second job. Let me tell you something. Money was not an issue for me. I did what I had to do, and I was relentless at it. And then when I graduated from college, I worked on my first job like nobody's business. And I remember finishing the whole year of financial files that I had to do for the students. I finished a whole year's worth of work in 3 months. And then I started to ask for more work to do, and people got jealous and intimidated, and I left that job. And then I went to another job, and they tried to hold me back there, and I got promoted. And after I got promoted, I wanted to make more money. They did not want to pay me more money because I didn't have a degree, even though I was doing more work than everybody. So I left that job, and then I went into the financial services industry. And then I worked and I worked and I worked, and I kicked butt, and I hired an assistant so that I could spend my time getting educated and teaching classes so that the assistant could stay in the office and do the paperwork. What I'm saying to you is you cannot quit. You have to keep going. So what does that look like for you? What is your financial vision of perfection for each area? What is your vision of perfection for retirement? What is your 60-day goal? You may want to retire having $1 million in your retirement. Now, if you're going to retire at the age of 60 something, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be enough money. You need enough money in your retirement 401k, but you also need a pension. You need an income for life, because the life expectancy after retirement age is well over 2 decades. So you want to make sure you have enough money. What is the vision of perfection for your education fund for your children? What is the vision of perfection for your debt? Do you want to be completely debt free? What is that vision of perfection? So for each area that you ranked, I want you to create a vision of perfection. What does it look like in its perfect state? Then I want you to create a 60-day goal, a 60-day goal. So if you don't have a retirement plan at all, maybe your 60-day goal is simply to establish one and put $100 in it. You don't have to start big, but you have to start somewhere. And if you start somewhere and you keep adding to it, then you are going to get to the next level. Once you create your 60-day goal, then I want you to create your daily activities. So this is how it works. Your vision of perfection for each area of your financial life. Then I want you to write your 60-day goal. And then what are the daily activities to get to that 60-day goal? So if you want to have a retirement plan that's worth $1 million by the time you retire 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, first of all, you got to do the math. How much do you need to put in there on a regular basis? That's fine. You may not have enough money right now, but just start off with $100. Start off with $5. I did a savings plan on the Steve Harvey show to show everybody, what if you just start saving $1 a week on the first week? And the second week, make it $2. The third week, make it $3. The fourth week, make it $4. If you want to start with a little bit more, just add to it, double what you are doing every single week until you get there. After you create your 60-day goal, then you want to create your daily action steps. You got to go find a bank. You got to go look for a financial planner. You got to go find a retirement account. Maybe you'll go to your bank and open an IRA. Whatever it is, I want you to get busy doing it. What do you want your vacation fund to look like? What is the vision of perfection for that every year? What is the vision of perfection for your holiday fund? Maybe you have a special purchase that you want to make. Maybe you want to buy new furniture. Maybe you want to remodel your kitchen. Maybe you want to fix something in your home. Maybe you want to buy a new home. Whatever that looks like for you, I want you to create the vision of perfection. Then I want you to write your 60-day goal. And then I want you to write your daily activities. Now, what happens after 60 days? You're going to take a look at what your goal was. And in 60 days, you're going to figure out, what do I do from here? You're going to create another 60-day goal. If you hit your goal, congratulations. If you didn't, figure out what you're doing wrong. When I wanted to get my finances to the next level, I stopped talking to everybody. I didn't want to be invited to nothing. Don't invite me to your birthday party. Don't invite me to your house. I don't want to go to a baby shower, a bridal shower. I don't have money to park. I don't have money to drive. I don't have money to eat. I'm not buying a new outfit. I stopped everything because I needed to get my situation straight. And as a matter of fact, I needed to spend some time with myself to think about the things that I was trying to run away from. Let me tell you something. If you are busy going nowhere, then at some point you're going to have to stop and deal with yourself. You're going to have to stop and deal with the things that you have in front of you if you want to master them. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. This is WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation. And we are creating our financial vision of perfection because we don't want to wait until the new year to get started. We want to start thinking about this now. So by the time the new year gets here, we already have the momentum. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been in planning meetings. Let me tell you something. I have at least $2 billion ideas, at least 2 of them, and several multi-million-dollar ideas that I just need to put in place, get the right people on my team, put the strategy out, do my research, put my work in, get the videos done, get the messaging done. So if I can do it, anybody can. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. We have to take a break for traffic and weather with Annette Flournoy. We'll be right back. WVON.
Do you want to leave a legacy for your loved ones? Do you know the difference between an estate plan and a will? Are you newly engaged and concerned about getting a prenuptial agreement? Are you married to your child's mother or father? And do you know what happens to insurance money if you are not? Call your wealth counselor, Attorney Deidre Woodstokes. With over 22 years of experience, Attorney Stokes has all the answers you need to help you secure your family's financial future. You can find Attorney Stokes on Lynn's list at www.lynnmillionaire.com. That's www.lynnmillionaire.com or call 888-LYNN-123. That's 888-596-6123. Protect your legacy now.
Hey, now welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, my favorite radio station. I want to take care of a few housekeeping issues. Call my office at 888-LYNN-123. That's 888-LYNN-123. You can also reach me on the World Wide Web at www.lynnrichardson.com. or www.lynnmillionaire.com. At Lynn Millionaire, you're going to find the Lynn's list. You're going to get help. You're going to read the blogs. You're going to get all kinds of news and information as it relates to finances in a multitude of areas. At lynnrichardson.com, you can connect with me. Invite me to your event. You want me to come out and speak to your family? You want to host a financial $1 million roundtable in your own community? You want me to come out and educate you for a day? Reach out to my office. Tell me what you want to do. My office will take the information and we'll figure out when I'm going to be there, how I'm going to get there, because we have got to do this together. In order for us to get to the next level financially, you've got to take in the information and then you've got to share it with someone else. So we're creating our vision because the word says where there is no vision, the people will perish. You need more of a vision than just for your career. You have a vision for your career. You have a vision for the baby shower. You have a vision for, this new car that you want. What about the vision for your finances and writing it down and sticking to the plan? So I want to share with you a few of the things that you need to do. Once you write down everything that you're not satisfied with, And the next thing you're going to do, you're going to rank those things in the order of importance to you. Then you're going to create your vision of perfection for each area. What do you want it to look like in the future? Then you're going to create your 60-day plan, and then you're going to create your daily steps. And every 60 days, you're going to revisit this plan. You've got to deal with this the way the world deals with it. The world doesn't slip by. The world doesn't let anything get by. The world is constantly recalculating, revamping, and figuring out how to adjust to the changes that are taking place. And I want you to do the same thing. This is what I want you to do now. Now that you've got your vision of perfection, if you want to get this document, you can reach out to my office. Go to lynnrichardson.com, click connect with Lynn, and I'll send it to you. But I want you to write a list of the things that you are going to start doing as of today. It doesn't matter what you did before. Doesn't matter what mistakes you made. What are you going to start doing differently today? And I want you to keep writing as long as you can. Thoughts disentangle themselves when they pass through your fingertips. And some of the things that you need to stop doing, you're not even going to recognize them until you see them staring back at you on a sheet of paper. It wasn't until I began to write that I began to see who I truly was. Because when I wrote my thoughts, when I wrote what was happening, it made it real, and it gave me something to hold on to so that I could either keep doing what I saw or abandon doing what I saw. So I want you to write the things that you will start doing as of today. Will you actually start to believe that you can be financially free? Will you start a budget? What about the 10-10-30-50? Will you write down all of your expenses? Some say money talks, but I say money walks away from you quietly and you don't know where it went. It would be nice if a dollar said, I'm going to roll bounce up out of here, and when you come find me, I won't be there. But it doesn't talk. When you're looking for your money, it's just gone. It's just gone. So I want you to get in the habit of doing some things that you are uncomfortable doing. And if you are in a comfort zone, it probably means that you are uncomfortable. It probably means that something needs to change. A comfort zone is a sign that something is wrong. Okay, so let's fix it together. The other thing that I want you to do is I want you to write a list of the things that you're going to stop doing. What are you going to stop doing? Are you going to stop criticizing yourself? Are you going to stop blaming other people for where you are or where you didn't go or what you didn't get? Are you going to stop looking at other people make it and being jealous? Are you going to stop blaming yourself for things that you had no control over? Well, you know differently now. And maybe you did have control, but you just didn't have the wherewithal to do it differently back then. It's okay. Are you going to stop putting yourself through a guilt trip for the things that you didn't do right? What are you going to stop doing today? You're going to stop going to the store with a credit card, knowing that you have no self-control. Go in there with cash. If you need toothpaste, walk in there with $3. That's it. $3. Can you do that? Can you challenge yourself? Can you actually give yourself the discipline and the structure that you need to get to the next level financially? You know, you have to keep fighting for what you want, because if you don't fight for what you want, then what you don't want will take over. So you got to fight anyway. You're going to have to either fight for what you want or you're going to have to fight off what you don't. So if you're going to fight, you might as well fight for what you want. It's like I talk about hard work. Getting your money to the next level is hard work. You need multiple streams of income. Managing multiple streams of income and managing your expenses and documenting your taxes, it's a full-time job. It's a lot of work. But being broke is a lot of work. So I want you to do work that's going to actually get you where you're trying to go, and not do the work that's going to have you sinking further below, where you already are. So get used to hard work. Get used to things not working. When you go out there in the world and something doesn't go your way, expect that it's not going to go your way. Don't get so thrown off your game for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, because something went wrong, because someone didn't meet your expectations, because someone made you a promise and they didn't keep it. I was listening to Les Brown the other day, and, he was sharing this story about someone who promised someone else to do something and the person didn't do it. And the person went back and asked them, well, why didn't you do it? And the person said, I lied. People lie. That's what happens. So move on, grow up, learn from your mistakes, and be better. You are listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. This is WVON. We are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. You have the power to create $1 million net worth. It's the difference between everything you own minus what you owe. And it starts with $1 at a time. If you respect the dollar will follow you. If you respect the dollar will flow to you. But if you disrespect money, if you don't care how you spend it, if you don't track it, if you don't measure it, if you don't honor math for what it is, math is an exact science. So treat it as such. It will flee you if you don't. But I know you have the power in you, and everything is possible for he or she who believes. It's the Millionaires Roundtable. And guess what? I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.